are leaving New Zealand, baby! Yeah! This is right at the entrance to the Bay of Islands. We're heading out. We've got about 8 days at sea. The weather looks good for 2 days. Big front comes through and then kind of good on the way to Fiji. It's going to definitely be a few ups and downs on this episode. Hope you enjoy it. Still got a little bit of reception, and so Jazz is just down here saying goodbye to Naomi, our eldest daughter. She is in at university.
Here she is. She's a bit sad.
Naomi.
She's worried something's going to happen to us.
Say hi to everyone.
Hi.
How's it going, Naomi? Are you worried for us?
Yeah. When we used to sail, I was never scared because if we went down, we all went down together. But if you guys go down now, I'm kind of left alone here.
You don't want to be orphaned.
We're not going to go down, baby.
It's only 1,000 miles. It's going to be okay.
I think we've got some tuna behind the boat. I just looked at our map and said, oh man, we're just dropping off the continental shelf. This is where we catch fish. 2 seconds later, this screamed out, got a big hit. It ran with it, but it spat it out. I don't really want to catch a big fish on this line. I don't know if you can see out this side, there's marlin boats out here. And I don't want to catch a big marlin. The marlin that we catch off the coast of New Zealand, I don't want to catch one of those. We've got a time frame. Just hit me again. It's a small swordie. It's a juvenile swordfish, and I don't want that. I've got him well and truly on this.
Whoa.
I got him on my big line. This is doable. It's a big fish. Yeah. I keep hitting it and spitting it out. Jazzy is not feeling so good. I mean, it's actually...
Neither are the kids.
It's not so bad out here. These guys are a little out of practice. In fact, Jazz, for the first time, is taking seasickness medication. By the way, we do get seasickness pills. They're called, and we're not sponsored for this, they're called Paihia bombs. Look it up online. You get them from New Zealand. They make them here in Paihia, which is just kind of near Opua, where we left from. There's 2 of them. You take one just before you leave, and then you take another one a few hours afterwards, and they are really good. We've used them with all of our guests that get a little seasick, and every time it's totally sweet. So just a little plug for those guys.
Ginger beer's good for a funny tummy. Got our pork buns for our first lunch. Really nice. Starting to calm down a bit, starting to feel a little bit better. It might be the seasickness pills, or it might be just that we're getting used to it.
What? You saw pilot whales?
Well, they're either really big dolphins or pilot whales. Just a couple
I just had a little sleep and I've seen pilot whales. It's getting a bit cold up here. The last of New Zealand, you guys won't be able to see it, but we can just make it out. And so we've truly said goodbye to our homeland.
We put the water temperature up on the thing and it's gone up 2 milladegrees in the last 30 minutes.
2 milladegrees?
I don't know what you call it.
Points of a degree.
Points
what
of a
was
degree.
it before when we put it
It
on?
was 21.4, now it's 21.6.
Do you want me to help now? Do you want me to
Just pull it
Tell us
around.
what's happening.
We got this fish.
So we hooked the fish, we hooked 2 fish, and we lost the one on the big rod. David's pulling on this one.
An albacore tuna.
What happens when you drag them through the water for a little bit is that they pretty much give up their fight.
It's not huge.
See if we can get it in. We're going about 7 knots, so it's just difficult.
Still there?
So he's diving.
Got a gap.
small. We still want tuna, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he's skipjack. We don't want him, do we?
Oh, they eat skipjack.
Yeah, we haven't had tuna for a long time.
Okay.
A lot of people eat those.
So you can tell it's a skipjack by, see the stripes down it. These guys run with yellowfin and the rest of them. So it's just a lucky draw, really.
The sun has set on Bella's 16th birthday. It's been a pretty boring one for her, I'm afraid, but we made it through our first day of passage. Only 5 or 6 more to go. Got the good old Jimmy Cornell's World Cruising Guide, so I thought I'd get it out and read up a bit on Fiji. Interesting enough, the Polynesians only got here in the 15th century, so only 500 years ago. First sighted by Abel Tasman in the 17th century, visited by Captain Cook in the 1770s, and Captain Bligh sailed through here on his epic voyage after being cast off from the Bounty, for those of you that have heard of the famous novel Mutiny on the Bounty. After the introduction of firearms or guns, there were terrible tribal wars fought by the people renowned for their savagery and cannibalism. But then the influence of Christianity spread, and the chiefs requested that the islands be taken under the protection of Great Britain to put an end to their exploitation by traders and freebooters. And then labour shortages in the 19th and early 20th century meant that large numbers of Indian labourers were brought in by the British to work on the sugar plantations. Independence from Britain came to Fiji in 1970, and for some years the country enjoyed stability and prosperity. You know, anyone that knows the politics of Fiji know that they have been a little unstable from the late 80s until the early 2000s, but it's been pretty good since then.
Got a real good Prime Minister at the moment.
Yeah, and they're doing really well to cope with their current COVID crisis from the sounds of things. It's really cool to read up a bit about where you're going and know a bit about the history so that you can know what to look out for, and understanding culture and learning about culture is an important part of what we want to find out when we go to new countries.
So they make gross food.
Good?
Yeah.
Good food?
Yeah, I'll put that.
Woke up to a slightly warmer day, a few squalls kicking around, started to feel a little bit more tropical. And it was a pretty uneventful night. We dropped sail in the middle of the night, and so we're just motor sailing now. The sails were just flogging about. That's when they just moved from one side to the next. We did 3-hour watches. Our eldest daughter Naomi, when she sailed with us, she would just do this huge watch, like till about from 10 a.m. till 3 o'clock in the morning. It was incredible. 10 p.m. sorry, till 3 a.m. And now we're just sort of divvying it all up, and it's a bit more tricky. Getting chased by this rainbow, how cool is it? We check the squalls out on our radar here, which is very important if we've got sails up. We'd be probably trying to move to avoid the squall, or we would be reefing down. Anyway, we're gonna get our fishing lines out, see if we can catch ourselves a mahi-mahi.
Making 6 knots on a broad reach. We put that reef in our main because it looks a bit squally, but maybe we didn't need it. It's always hard to tell. It's not supposed to be this windy, so that's made us a little like kind of, oh, what's happening here? So we're not sure if it's going to last, or it's not what the forecast said, which is never that good a thing. So, but we're doing alright, and the sea state's good, which is
siphoning some fuel and filtering it. We have certainly been powering it through and maybe used about half a tank. Got plenty of diesel, but just need to be careful and probably might start running it on just lower revs. The lower revs you go, obviously the less diesel that you use. So, and it's kind of exponential too, I've found. Like if you're on sort of 1500, 1600 revs, I mean, we can go like for twice as far as we could on 2000 revs. It's amazing. Yeah, have you not seen this, mate?
How does it work? You want to explain how it works?
It's just gravity fed. It's got a little bearing. It's just a siphon, but there's a little bearing at the other end that bounces up and down and sort of forces it up so that you don't have to suck it up like you do when you siphon it with your mouth.
And why do you use this filter?
So the filter just takes out all of the crap, and it's really important if the fuel's dirty. In New Zealand, fuel is great, but what was in the bottom of these jerry cans I was a little bit worried about, so we're just using the filter. Okay, we've had about 2 days of just motor sailing, really, making as much ground as possible to get ahead of the system. One report says that we've got ahead of it, one of them says that it's still going to get a little dicey over the next couple of days. We're just going into wind though. Both of the reports say we've got headwind, so we're actually tacking upwind. We're running pretty close, just sort of slowed the boat down. We're only going 5 knots, and we're running about 20 degrees off our course, off wind, and so it's not fun tacking upwind just because it takes so much longer. But yeah, we just got to get there.
I feel completely fine today. Just like, I don't feel sick at all. Mum, on the other hand, doesn't feel so good. But the night passage, I got a night off last night, so I got to sleep in my normal bed, which was quite nice. I like took a shower and stuff, which it's not easy, but it's doable. And the night before that, I had to do the night watch. It was like 9 to 12 or something, and it's actually really hard to watch movies straight for hours. I don't recommend it. It's not good.
Very occasionally I get seasick, and turns out this is one of those times. I threw up in my watch last night, and I feel like I'm going to puke again, to be honest. And it's just really hard. I started reading because I was bored, but I think reading or looking at things on screens actually makes me feel more sick. But it's really hard just to sit here for hours, especially when you're not feeling very well.
What are we, second, third day? Third day. Is always the hardest. Yeah, well, you feel like you should be there, but then you look at the screen and New Zealand's still on it, and it's sad. It's depressing. It's lethargic. We've got 800 miles to go, and so, you know, tomorrow we're just going to start feeling a whole lot better. Turning can be dangerous because it usually means you have to cross the path of other vehicles. Remember, turning traffic gives way to traffic that is not turning. Kind of common sense stuff. This cute little bird's been following us for a little while, like about that small. It looks like a swallow or something like that. I don't know my seabirds. Isn't it amazing how something can be created for an environment like this? I mean, this boat's been created by a person, Bruce Farr actually, and it'll just barely exist out here, really. I mean, we can do this for a few weeks and then we'll run out of water. The boat could keep going for maybe a few months and then it'll break down, but this little bird is perfect for this environment. And I don't know if you're a person of faith, but I am. And you get out into an environment like this and you start looking at creation, or what I believe to be creation, man, it just gets you thinking. It's perfect. It's perfectly designed. How this little bird can live out here? Well, I think it's designed for it.
Don't film me. It's mean. Mean to film me. Because
I feel sick.
Don't do it.
Don't throw up. I did my first night watch last night. Stayed up just to 12, and it's not normally very hard for me, but for some reason on the boat it's harder, and I slipped into 12 as well. Oh, she's throwing up. So good. Ew, Mum, you can't do that. Haha, Mum. Nice cream for half a day, Mum. And very nice of you.
It's nice to see that patch of sunshine. It has been the most horrendous night of thumping into waves. You guys can't hear it, but downstairs that noise of bashing down a wave it just sounds like the boat is going to break apart. Luckily I happen to know this boat won't break apart in these waves because I've been there and done this. But it is a terrifying sound, and it can leave that sort of sense of foreboding, and particularly at night you can get so fearful. And the kids and Jazz, they slept the whole night. I did the whole watch last night because they were just so sick. And I feel a little responsible taking them out here in this crap as well.
Well, I'm up now, and Josh was very kind, and he did do all night. I'm just terrified of getting sick again. I threw up 3 times yesterday. Every time I get up and try and do things, I seem to get sick. But I'm going to attempt to make a cup of tea, which is very difficult on this angle. Just everything is difficult on a big angle, which is why we don't like going upwind, which we knew. But we were hoping it would be shorter than it is. It looks like we've got two days of this ahead of us, which is really not fun. We've already done it for about 24 hours. None of us enjoyed it. It was a hellish 24 hours. And we've got to get through 2 more days. You can probably hear that banging now. That's kind of mild. Sometimes they're really loud and just wakes you up if you do happen to fall asleep. Yeah, so not fun times right now. Nobody's liking this.
We've had a really frustrating day. The wind was meant to come around with more east in it, but it's been having west in it, which means that we've been sailing out almost heading for Tonga or Tahiti or something like that. And so we've just opted for turning the motor on now. There's this nasty weather system in behind, and we really do need to make some headway to get out of this convergence zone. Kids have been asleep pretty much all day and all night. I mean, what else can you do? It's pretty boring, and guessing you heard that. And it's frightening too. It's terrifying sometimes when the boat makes noises like that. Finally making some headway, change tack, and heading to Fiji, and we've just found out that Fiji is...
They've changed their rules for the blue lanes. Apparently, according to a text we got from another cruiser, we might only be allowed to disembark, like get off the boat at the port we arrive in, which is Savu Savu. And then we may be allowed to get on the boat and go to islands, but we're not allowed to get off the boat anywhere else.
So it's kind of like in lockdown.
Which is pretty sucky.
But I think it'll be alright. I think we don't really want to go to villages and stuff anyway. We've kind of been there, done that. We just want to hit beautiful spots and do a lot of free diving. So
you want to be able to go to the beach, which apparently you're not going to be allowed to do.
So technically we won't be going ashore on really remote beaches. No, we won't. What's up, guys?
I'm eating
Can I show you
crackers!
Look, come here. Look how clear my spit is. Like usually it's like real foamy.
Hey, that's gross. Don't spit on the table.
Look how clear it is.
What did we do today? It was Sunday.
We had church today.
Do church on Nikau.
Yeah.
Sing a few songs. Are you guys having fun?
No, it's tough.
You could say that if we were having fun in our dreams, Yeah, I do a lot of thinking too. I'm not having fun.
It was definitely a shark, eh guys?
I don't know. I don't know.
Do you think it could have been
Keep toying with it, Dad.
a little mahi?
Oh, careful with your fingers there, Bella.
Okay, come and grab this one.
Yeah, pulling. I'm making ground on the tuna now.
Our idea, Mum, was that so if we're going to catch a tuna big enough to like millions of dollars, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take the dinghy down, flip it over, fill it with water. We're going to keep our tuna in the water like a little paddling ball. And then we're going to make ice. And then Dad's got some contacts for Japan, he says, and we're going to ship it to Japan. So we've got 2 tuna on the line, maybe. And then hopefully we can do it to one of them.
Up. Oh, we are in mahi.
No idea. No idea what they are until you see them.
Hold the rod so it doesn't go over. You don't want to lose the rod.
There he goes. And he's off.
Goodbye.
Is that yellow?
Oh, it's this one.
Yeah, I don't think
No, blue.
he's striper.
Oh no. I actually haven't got.
Oh, you're kind of into this.
Ew, it's got like worms.
There he is. A bit of blood. There he is.
Really want to eat that.
He almost looks like a bluefin, eh? See the blue colour? Can you watch him go?
Yeah.
Bring the camera close.
Style.
Oh, don't they? He's gone.
He was alive, definitely.
Oh,
Did he poo in your face?
got all the blood in my mouth. That's the morning of the 7th day. I mean, in a good world, we'd be there by now if we could go in a straight line, but we've been zigzagging across an ocean. And last night there was no wind, and so we motored all night. And the fuel tanks hitting empty, doing this kind of thing. And there's nothing better than filling something when it's empty, right? Like going in, glug, 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 and it's just so satisfying. And so we're going to put another like 5 jerry cans in there. That's going to take us another like day and a bit. And then we've got some wind. We're going to leave 1 jerry can just as a backup to make sure we don't run out. We'll have something when we're going into anchor.
It's my shower. I haven't had a shower in 8 days.
We have had maybe 20, 25 squalls tonight. Some like this, just like a monsoon bucket of rain. Some just insane amounts of wind. Certainly makes it very difficult trying to get through these little islands as we approach Fiji.
First time Fiji, what do you think, Bella?
I actually couldn't see it when I woke up, but it's so cool. It's really good to be here. Thanks guys for staying up all night. I didn't sleep that good, but it's okay. Dad's giving the autopilot a break from all the staring, and we're just staring into a massive squall right now.
Can't believe it, we made it here in daylight hours. We just rounded the corner. We've got half an hour to go to make it up to Sabu Sabu. Jazz radioed in, and they're all looking forward to seeing us, and so we can sleep well at anchor tonight. Alright guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. We have got a lot of stuff to show you here in Fiji, so make sure you tune in over the next few weeks. It's going to be amazing.